What do you see as important for the Buckeyes offensively when you look at this game? Obviously, Buckeyes an underdog, as anybody would be against Alabama, the number one team in the country. Buckeyes were ranked third. But what are some keys offensively for Ohio State?
Well, Justin Fields had 385 yards and 6 touchdowns the last time he put on the jersey. So that would be nice to do that again, or some version of that. Trey Sermon continuing to run like this is 2014 and we're watching Ezekiel Elliott. That would be nice as well. Pretty much what I'm getting to is they need to score, and they need to score every single time they get the ball, regardless if they get it on their own 20 or if they get it on Alabama's 15. They need to continue to put up points, because I've been saying it all year, Ohio State can win any game that's a shootout. Well, they proved that against Clemson. They continued to score, and they ended up with 49 points and a 49-28 win. They need to do that again. They just need to score, because Alabama has just as much offensive power on their side.
When you look at Trey Sermon, what have you seen the last couple of weeks that Buckeye fans are smiling about? And you said you knew he had it in him. It's coming out at the right time of the year.
Yeah, like I said before, his trainer, whatever his trainer said to him, both publicly and privately, is apparently working. He's not dancing in a hole anymore. He's not being timid with his running. He's running violently, actually. And whatever it was, something clicked. And I think it had something to do with right before that Michigan State game where he had 100-plus yards in that game. But that game allowed him to kind of find the rhythm he didn't have the first half of the season. Now, it doesn't help that you're a transfer kid who comes in the middle of a pandemic. You don't get all the normal things that come with preparing for a college football season, but something has clicked. And at this point, a 200-yard rushing game is not crazy, which I think for most people to say he would have had 50 yards in a college football game would have been crazy if we would have been saying this a month ago. But something's clicked, and it's clicking at the right time for Ohio State.
Well, you know Fields, you know Sermon, you know Olave. Who are some of the guys, the X factors, if you will, that if they have a good game tonight, it could be good things ahead for the Buckeyes offense?
Yeah, I think anybody who listens to Buckeye Talk knows Garrett Wilson is at the top of that list for me, man. In the slot, we'll see what's going on with their slot corner for Alabama and if that's an issue. But they've had some trouble with guys playing in the slot, whether it's Kyle Pitts, who's more of a tight end, but they use him in the slot sometimes. Ole Miss took advantage of that with their slot receiver as well. Garrett Wilson is just as explosive as Chris Olave, maybe even more, because Chris Olave is a heck of a deep ball threat. But Garrett Wilson's a guy who can take a short pass and turn a 2-yard pass into 25 to 27 yards if needed. So that's the guy I'm watching. He hasn't really exploded since, I think, the Michigan State game. He got held in check in the Big Ten championship game because Chris Olave wasn't there to take at least some of the attention away from him so they could just scheme for him. And obviously, he had the 40-yard catch at the beginning of the Clemson game, but after that, he got kind of quiet as Justin Fields found every other receiver in the world wide open up elsewhere. I think this is the game where maybe he gets back to that 100-yard standard that he set for most of the season. And then also the tight ends. They got the tight ends involved against Clemson because Clemson's defensive scheme allowed that to happen. Does that happen again, and maybe we see Jeremy Rucker reach the end zone once or twice?
How important is that offensive line? Have played very well against Clemson, but how important is that O-line tonight?
Biggest factor. I know we joke that Justin's going to be fine. He's very active, and the ribs aren't going to be an issue. But let's not test that theory. Let's keep him protected. Let's keep those sacks under 3 a game. I know they'll give up some because he likes to make plays, and sometimes that can lead to sack. But keep him upright as much as possible. But also, Trey Sermon is at his best when he gets to the second line. And one thing we saw in the Clemson game was his yards before contact were amazing. And that's all on the offensive line, getting him through the hole so he can be violent against secondaries and linebackers. So this is one of the best offensive lines in the country. We'll see what happens with Harry Miller, whether he's returned or not. But that doesn't necessarily seem to be an issue because of the 5 guys, he's the weakest link just because he's a sophomore. We saw Paris Johnson step in and show why he might be a guy who might be the future Orlando Pace here. Matthew Jones has been a quality backup at that left guard spot. But other than that, Wyatt Davis, Josh Myers, Thayer Munford, and Nicholas Petit-Frere, that offensive line is going to be huge for Ohio State tonight.